In this video, we will be covering how to create a South Park styled character. We're going to be using creating a Donald Trump version of like a South Park character. So stick till the end of this tutorial, and you should be able to do something like this. So let's keep going. Okay, so now we're done with the A, and we're able to configure that to keys. So let's just test that and see. Okay, so we have a character. So let's just test the first arm. Even though there are certain keys that are not configured to keys, there are certain triggers that are not configured to keys. So just bear with me. Q, we get him to do this. W, R, Y, okay, this is supposed to work in consonance with this, so I'm going to fix that when I come to making this other arm. So that's that. This, and then P, we get him to fold his hands, and this works in consonance with this other hand. So that's another thing that will eventually be fixing. So everything seems to be working fine. I don't know why his eyes are closed. Did I mistakenly make that the default? So let's go back to the head, and even I did not add blink, so blink is supposed to be 0. I'm supposed to make 0 blink, so that's something else I need to do. So whenever you select the head, it will bring in a different list of triggers. So okay, you see I made blink the default, not that make default the default. That's a mistake. Okay, so let's make 0 blink. So let's just click 0 here, and everything should be working fine now. And make it large. Okay, so that should be it. Let's test it. Okay, so you see everything is working fine. His brows are working fine, angry and whatever. And if you press 0, he blinks. Good. So that's a plus. Do like this. The P is supposed to fold his hand, and the draggable works fine, and also his waist. So that's something that is because there's just ignore that. I'm going to fix that, but everything works fine. So let's move to rigging his second arm. It's still the same process, the same thing. So I may be speeding through this because it's still exactly the same thing. You drag the theme, drag it to create a swap set, and after doing that, you rename it AMB. So let's just name this B. Let's chain together. AMB. Hand B, not AMB. Okay. So I'm going to speed through because it's the same thing. You drag in the #1, #2, #3. That's in between here. So you have to. So it's just basically the same thing. Okay, beauty with this process is you don't have to go through it again. After doing this, whenever I'm creating, you see when I'm creating the Kamalaris version of this, I will not have to do any of this rigging. I just need to place everything in Adobe Illustrator, place everything right, and the moment I come here, I'll just replace this file. with her own file, with the camera raise file, and automatically everything replaces. All the triggers are replaced. Maybe once, maybe there's a chance that I might just move one or two things around, but almost everything will be back in place. So that's the beauty with it. Works on Photoshop too, but Photoshop is a bit more complex because there are certain things that you have to get accurately in place. Okay, so now let's give it let's configure it to keys. I'm going to speed through this process again because I've done this already. Okay, so we're done rigging the body, and I'm going to replicate the same thing on the left profile. So you probably you're probably asking, why won't I just do the same thing I did with the head? Just duplicate, just share, make this shareable, and then move it here and then place it on whatever like that. Well, you could do that, but I have certain features in my own arm that does not allow me to do that because I need to place. I have to place some things manually. So you could do that for your own, but I'm going to just manually go to rig of like the stress of like doing this over again because, well, or maybe there's a way out. I will figure it out. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my time lapse. Okay, whenever you use a head that you shared from somewhere, it will automatically be independent. So you have to undo that so that you'll be able to use the draggable here. Okay, so now the body, I think it's fine this way. I think it's okay. It's, oh, there is a pin. Okay, yeah, the pin is there, so it's fine. Okay, so now what else do we need to do? Normally, okay, let me just drag this and create a swap set. Let's create a swap set for this, for the entire character, just so that we'll be able to use frontal and left profile. So let's make frontal the default, and let's just let's just make these flash. After doing this, It means we can now switch from frontal to left, but then we need it to flip this other way. Now the old me would have used a different method where I would use the same method I used for the head. Click this, duplicate, flip it. That's cool, you could still do that, but I have an alternative method, a better method of doing that, so that you do not have to make your puppet very bloated, very large. So all you just need to do is click this, and since we already, okay, no, click this instead, and since we have our transform, just make this independent, because I didn't make that independent. Make this independent too. So click this, and we have our transform. So it means you can scale on the x-axis by a minus. So when you use minus, it automatically flips the character this way. So normally that is the method you will use to flip your character, but I think I would rather make it into a trigger. So we now have our frontal, we have our left profile. So now let's come into record here. We have our character fully ready already, but it's just that we need a flipped version. Okay, just so that we'll test, let's test. Our work is fine, our head moves left, moves right. That's perfect. Okay, so now we need it to be the whole body to be able to flip. And I don't know, did I configure? I did not put a key for the left, so you could just do that directly from here. You do not have to go into the rig again. So you want the character to flip, the whole body to flip. Let's make it I've already used M for movement. So C, let's make it C. Okay, so now C, oh no, let's make it V rather. Let's make it V. I think V is better, so that we could use C for the opposite direction. So now we have our V. When you press V, oh no, it's loading. Okay, when you press V, the entire character is supposed to flip. What is going on? Why are you not flipping? Okay, it's supposed to go into this profile. It's supposed to go like this into this profile. And mind you, since we applied the movement on the entire body, it could still move. So you could still move your character. So so now we need a flip version of this. So when we do this, it's flipped this way. So now how do we do this? You select your trump here. You create, let's create a trigger. Just, in fact, we do not have to even create it here. All you just need to do is come to this scale here and add a minus. So now it's flipped, and you create, enable, you create a replay trigger from here directly. Okay, so you create a replay trigger. So now I'm just going to name this flip. So make it flip. Okay, so now we have our flip, and I'm going to make that C. Okay, so now let's undo what we just did here, the scale. So let's undo that. Okay, good, we have done that. So now what this means is, okay, let's come down here, because we still need to name it something. Let's make it flip here also, because it did not automatically rename that. So flip. And now when we press, you could alternatively come here and press this, and when you press it, the character is supposed to flip. And we didn't latch this, so just latch this, make it latch, so that when you press and hold. So now if I press V and the character is flipped towards this direction, if I press C, it's also flipped the opposite direction. So you see it's flipped on both ends. So that's really cool. While the character walks, you could do this, you could flip this way, you could flip this way and walk, and maybe move his head this way, boo, 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 while walking. Perfect. So now perfect. Okay, so now we have our whole character here, ready for whatever you want to do. This character will be available on the site, and it comes with all these triggers. So you could use this, just combine keys like this if you want. him to fold his hands. Boom, that's right there. You could come here, then generate controls, and you see so many controls that I've not covered in this tutorial. So just go there and generate controls. That's if the controls are not generated already, and then use it to your hard content. Thank you for watching. Please give us a like, give us a sub. It will help us to reach more people and also reach you with more contents like this in the future. Thank you, and bye for now.